Have you ever spent Monday morning or the first part of Monday morning knowing that you've got lots to do, knowing that you have quite a big to-do list, or maybe feeling like you don't know where to start? Well, if you ever have done that and you're looking to get out there and be visible and you're spinning plates, so you're a business owner who markets themselves, who has to do their own accounting, who has to create their content, who has to wear more than one hat, then this week's Monday Motivation will especially be helpful to you. But don't worry, if you are an employee and you are looking to raise your profile professionally, you'll find that this will be helpful too. Now, why is this even important? Well, if you have looked on this page or even over on my Instagram profile, you will see that I talk a lot about almost like rituals and getting ready to do things. And one of the core parts of the work I do when helping you to stand out, to raise your profile, to just show up and be visible and be ready to show up and be visible, is being ready. Just being ready so that you can be visible anytime, any place, anywhere. So I hear you cry. What on earth has this got to do with putting yourself out there, with being visible, with motivating you for your week? Well, I'm about to tell you. So if you are watching this live and you are like any of the others, so I'm just going to put my thing down a bit. I'm going to move back. I don't like to see the ceiling on my video. It looks weird. Is that better, or am I too far away? Let me know. But if you're like the others who watch this live in the background and you're just happy to watch it live in the background, thank you for being here, and it's fine for you to do that. If you're like some of the other vibers and maybe some people that are more new to me and you are watching this live and you want to type a comment in the box, a thought, a question, a aha moment, or this is like what I've got from this, then please feel free to do so too. So my lockdown bun is a little bit lower today, so I keep looking at myself and looking like I've got very short hair, but that's okay because that's not what this is about. So thank you. Oh, Ivona's saying hello. She says, I'm fine where I'm standing, thank you. It's always hard to know whether I look too teeny weeny or too big, because for those of you who are interested in being even more visible, there's a high percentage of people, I think the percentage is 82% of people watch their Facebook lives and watch videos from their phone. So if I'm too tiny in the screen, they'll be straining their eyes, which isn't really a good look for them. So Ivona says I look so young. I know, I feel like a 12-year-old, but I'm rocking my lockdown hair. I'm going to keep it like this for a bit longer, which might mean I need to have all my photos and stuff done, but hey ho, it is what it is. Anyway, so Monday morning comes along. On the most part, many of the people that watch these videos that are in this community, and if they're not in the community, by the way, do share this with them. I mean, share it now while I'm still live so they can hop on, and if they're awake they can be sort of having a look at what this is about. And it's quite interesting because not only, even though I'm streaming this from the UK, currently in Stoke-on-Trent, later on to be back in London, but even though I stream this from the UK, I have a lot of people who view from New Zealand, Australia and America. So to the Australians, who are already in our future and it's Monday afternoon, hello, and to the Americans who should be in bed by now because it's either kind of like 11 o'clock, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Thank you for watching. I adore the fact that you are watching. So, okay, Monday morning comes along. You're either excited or you just need a bit of a kickstart to get going and keep going. But somehow, even though you're excited, even though you're looking forward to the week ahead, you already have that, almost like that grey fog descending of overwhelm. And I don't know what to do nextness, or I've got so many things to do, so little time, which shall I do first? And normally, how people decide what they're going to do next and first is whatever wins in their diary. So what is it that wins in your diary? And you'll go for it. Maybe you've got appointment schedule, so they're the things that win. So then what happens when somebody cancels that appointment and you're left with a big gap, Even though you're probably quite grateful that you've got that time back, I'm sure that if you're feeling an overwhelm, you'll be dumping in more stuff. No white space, nowhere to do anything. So I'm going to start by sharing a couple of things that are going to be helpful to you. I know that they're helpful because anyone who's worked with me close up and personal, who's ever asked me, there's certain questions that people ask me and I'm like, aha, this is what this is about, this is what's helpful. And I go back to a client that I was working with previously who said, I do have so much to do, I've got so much to do when I get up, and I am really excited about it, but how do you manage all of these different things, stay focused, stay calm, and stay kind of like in your zone of genius? And here's just a little bit of what I would share. So there's 3 things to pay attention to. Monday morning for many is the start of the week, but as busy kind of business owners and entrepreneurs, I know that many of you will go through 7 days. So one of the things to start to think about is, how do you want your week to look? Do you want to have weekends off? Do you want to have some weekends off? An example of this, I tend to have my kind of business hours, if you like, Monday to Friday, 9 to 6 UK time. So at the moment, British summertime, BST. However, a couple of weeks ago, as some of you will know, I ran a live event, Visibility Made Easy. And in order to get everything done for that, even though I had a bit of help, not as much as maybe I should, so note for next time, but even though I had help, there were times where I was working into the evenings. There were times where I was working over weekends. And it wasn't like an 18-hour day like back in my corporate days, but there were still times, hey, good morning, Sharon, waving back at you. And Ivona's telling me to embrace my lockdown here. I am totally rocking and embracing it. So there will be times when you are doing stuff, and this applies to those of you who are employed by somebody. I remember in one of my jobs in financial services actually getting locked in a stairwell because I was leaving at 1:30 in the morning. Now, I don't wear that as a badge of honour. I share that with you to be completely authentic in the journey that even I've taken over the last decade or so, where, I would be like, oh, I'm just going to do this and then I'll finish. I'm just going to do this and then I'll finish. Then it became, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is when I should have finished work, became 6 o'clock. No problem. Became 7 o'clock. No problem. Became 8 o'clock. Phone call back home. I am just finishing up some stuff, got so much to do, so I'll be another hour, then I'll be back. No problem, they said, which kind of gave me even more permission to no problem myself and keep going, until at 1:30 in the morning, I didn't know this, to exit the building I was in, I had to tap my pass on the pass code, on the pass pad, which opened the door. And then when I went to tap it to go outside, in fact, no, I pressed a button to open that door, tapped on my on the passcode to go outside, and a red light flashed. No green light. That's strange. I tried again and I tried again, and I realised, oh my gosh, I can't get out of this door. No problem, I'll go back upstairs. Keypad. Same thing happened. I was locked in a stairwell. How on earth at 1:30 in the morning am I going to get out of the stairwell? Who on earth am I going to phone? All those thoughts rush through my head. Who can you call at 1:30 in the morning to say, I'm locked in a stairwell, apart from the security guard? Which thankfully, I had great connections with everybody in the building. Sometimes due to my staying there very late, I knew all the cleaners on first name terms. I knew most of the security guards. And with that, I just stood there and thought, well, I can't sleep here. What do I do? And for those of you that like a story to be finished, I basically found a light switch, very slowly flicked it on and off, on and off, on and off. And after about 40 seconds, which to be fair felt like 40 minutes, I could see a shadowy figure moving in one of the other buildings in the distance, looking over. So I kept switching on and off. And as I switched on, I did a very slow and purposeful wave, until the security guard either thought they had an intruder or had a problem, but thankfully came over and let me out. So all of that could have been avoided if I had just learnt some of this stuff that I'm sharing with you now. So 3 parts to take this in: the before, the during, and the after. So one of the best ways to set up your after is to have some sort of working hours. And if you have official working hours, as in you're an employee, look to stick to those as closely as possible. Look to have a getaway piece. Look to be able to If you finish work at 5 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, start making a note of anything outstanding, because it's all going to be there tomorrow, or anything that you need to give priority. Maybe something has gone up your list. Maybe put your out of office on, just to let people know you'll be back in the office at 9 o'clock, happy to pick up the messages. So have those boundaries. So number one is make firm boundaries. And then that way, like me, when I was getting everything ready for the event and putting the finishing touches on, I knew that I was breaking my own opening hours, but it was okay, because I didn't just sit there and keep going and keep going. I knew that I was going to work an extra 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe even 4 hours, and that was my lot. It would still be there the next day, and it would give me the impetus to keep going. And maybe for some of you, it could be the impetus to get help within your business, you know. So that's the first thing, kind of starting with the end in mind. Now, in order to set yourself up for, for good motivational habits, and Ivona's saying scary to the story, I know. And you know what? The worst thing was, to me, it almost seemed a normal kind of thing. Yes, it wasn't normal to not be able to get out of a building, but the fact that it was 1:30 in the morning and I'd been in the office since about 7 o'clock, not a good thing to model. So this is a case of, don't try that at work, folks. Don't try that at work. So Ivona's saying, yes, I need to review my boundaries, especially in the view of commitments from September. Absolutely. And people often think about boundaries as something to protect themselves, protect themselves from something that's somehow unsafe out there, to being safe in this zone. And that's actually not what boundaries are about. Really great boundaries actually give you liberation and freedom. They give you freedom to be able to say yes. They give you the freedom to be able to say no. They give you I keep getting my words stuck. They give you the freedom to be able to know when your cart is full and when you've got a bit more space. And by doing that alone, that helps with how you feel inside, and it almost gives you forward momentum. I've been reflecting recently on how allowing ourselves to do certain things in a certain way gives us some forward momentum. It gives us forward momentum because it's liberating. It's liberating to ourselves, and when we give ourselves permission to do the thing that liberates us, it's gold. So Sharon's saying boundaries, good role modelling. Yeah, don't role model the 1:30 in the morning bit, but we all learn, and most of the time we learn from something we didn't do so well, and protecting the team too. Absolutely. So here's where to start. Now, it was quite ironic that I posted about 1:45, and yes, it was me posting live at 1:45, not scheduled or anything else, which is a rarity on a Sunday night, because knowing that I'm going to be up early and attempting to put in my own rituals before I've even got to the screen at 7:30, 1:45 is quite a late night for me. If any of you are in my Facebook group or have worked with me privately, you'll know that yes, I've got my Monday to Friday, 9 to 6 hours, but you'll also know that I do things like I set my phone to go on night mode, and I've upped that in the last year or so. So my phone goes on night mode from about 10 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning, which means that even though I might wake up at 6 o'clock, or I might choose to wake up before that 7 o'clock kind of curfew ends, I can still do things uninterrupted, undisturbed, because my phone isn't going to bleep and shout and cry or vie for my attention. So before you go into your week, and I like to do this on a Sunday, most of us, our thoughts will just fleetingly glance to work, even if we're out, with our families and our friends, or having time off. Even if we're on holiday, we will start to think of the week ahead, either things that we might need to do, things that we want to achieve, goals that we want to set. So on a Sunday, rather than using the whole day to kind of like ruminate and think about it, have time, spend time with your friends and family if you're not, allocating a time to work. But, and there's a very big but, spend, maybe it could be as little as 10 minutes, it could be as much as an hour. Spend a few minutes, and you can normally do this within 30 minutes. Set 30 minutes aside to think about your week ahead. Think about some of the things that you want to get done. Think about some of the goals that you want to achieve. Make a note of them, write them down somewhere so that you don't remember and then forget and then remember. Because even that process, you ever done that? If you have, give me a love heart across the screen, where you remember, oh, I must do something, and then you forget, and then you remember again, or then you try to remember, and that takes time and energy. So any time that you allocate a bit of time before the week has started, think about your goals, think about what you want to achieve. And also look at that list and think, do I really need to do that? Do I need to do this? Does this need to be done now? Can it be done by someone else? 3 really great questions to ask yourself. And give yourself permission to take things off the list, to delegate it to somebody else. You know, don't like doing too much social media? And do you have a sibling, or do you have do you have a child, do you have a spouse, do you have a niece, nephew, cousin who's always on social media? Can you get them to manage that bit of it for you? Maybe you're looking at just taking on the services of a VA just for a few hours a week so that they can handle that for you. So do you have to do it yourself? And if not, who can do it for you? So think about things like that. And when I say make a list, I'm really going to say write some bullet points down, just a handful of things that specifically need to be done. And quite often there's like one major thing that needs to be done, and when you break it down, there's lots of little pieces underneath. So on a Sunday, you know, just use a bit of time to do that. And the example that I used yesterday, which is all true, I never make up stuff for my social media. I decided I'm up here in Stoke, haven't been up here for a while, and wanted to do a bit of a deep clean. Yeah, I could get a cleaner in to do that. And with the COVID stuff, it might be a bit more of a challenge. But I've actually found it a newfound skill in lockdown, something that I didn't really like doing before. And I deep cleaned the bathroom and deep cleaned the kitchen. And while I did that, I was listening to information, podcasts, webinars, things that would really kind of feed my brain. So think about what you could do in the before part. And then think about what you can do in the during. So just before we get to what you could do during that, one of the things I advocate is getting enough sleep. One of the things I find so much out there is that we often starve ourselves of sleep. And given how late I went to bed last night, I'm still here and I'm still functioning, but I did have plenty of sleep the 2 nights before. So, it's not a habit that I've crept into. I speak to so many people who say, you know what? I don't get enough sleep. I go to bed too late. And some of you will go to bed really, really late and still get up really early and reduce the amount of hours. Maybe you've got a deadline that you're trying to work to. So you'll stay up late to finish as much of that as you can, but still get up extra early. So make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure that you get a good night's sleep. Not just one night a week, but every night. And in order to prepare for that, to be able to wind down, part of the process of thinking about what you need to do for the next week, dumping everything out of your head, stops all of those ideas swirling round while you're trying to sleep. So you can get a good, restful sleep. So, Ivana mentioned that she's got something that starts in September, so she wants to get her boundaries right. So if she starts practicing this now, it will start, even though it's a few weeks away, it will start to become a habit. It'll start to become a habit and something that will be much more manageable once she's in the scenario. So if you get ready for it by preparing before the event, you'll find that helpful too. I can just see some comments that are going through. Managing people's expectations, totally agree, sleep, no priority. And it happens to all of us. We all at some point will fall into that, whether we're up worrying, whether we're up working, whether we're up looking after someone else, whether we're just up because we lost track of time. So in order to get that piece ready, to get that sleep piece ready, set an alarm on your phone that says, right, time for bed. Use a bit of time to wind down. I like an hour to wind down before I go to bed. And last night, the man and I were going to watch some stuff on Netflix, and by the time that we'd been tinkering and reading and doing stuff, it got quite late. And he said, oh yeah, we could watch this, couldn't we? And I said, we could, but I want to be mindful what I'm putting in my head before I go to sleep. I don't mean the last just 5 minutes. And Wayne Dyer used to talk about this a lot. The last 10 to 5 minutes before you go to sleep, be very mindful of what goes in your head. I say the last hour. get into your pajamas, have a bath, or do whatever your new nighttime ritual is, and get your senses calmed down. And once you feel calmed and relaxed, stay in that place. Maybe there's something you want to read that you might not want to read, something highly hyper motivational to get you buzzing before you go to sleep. But what food are you going to put into your mind before, that last hour before you go to sleep? Watching a great movie, or watching a documentary, or watching a horror film or something like that might not be what you want to put inside of you to sleep on, to noodle on overnight. So think very consciously about what you're doing then, in that last hour before you go to sleep. And if you have to, get into bed and read. So many people say, oh, but I can't fall asleep straight away. Try being tired and getting into bed and opening a book and see how many paragraphs you get to before you're like. So be very mindful of that piece too. Yes, I get it. You meant the number one priority. Totally got that you meant that. Sharon, thank you for that comment. And Ivona's saying I put an alarm on how much time to spend on specific houseworky things. Well, my person who's like converted me, my kind of best kept secret, but not so much a secret, is a lady that I follow on Instagram called Lindsay, Queen of Clean. Quite coincidence that she's also a queen, but Lindsay, Queen of Clean, during the first part of lockdown and having a lot of time on my hands to be able to sort of get things sorted out, I became, let's say, just very interested in the intricacies of cleaning things like the light bulb cord pull in the bathroom. Have you ever noticed how filthy that can get? Well, she offered a really great way to clean it, and my sceptical part of my brain said, that's not going to work, surely. Like, no chemicals, no harsh, no harsh bleaches and acids. That's never going to work. But I'm going to try it anyway. Lo and behold, I unstrung my cord and I followed the tips that she advised. I don't want to do a spoiler alert, of course. And within 15 minutes, this gleaming white cord was hung back up, ready to dry. And I started to look around. What other things do I walk past and think, oh, that needs to be cleaned? Think about this. If you've got like we have here, like white doors, look around the door handles and see how much dirt can accumulate. Window handles. So I became quite fascinated with like looking for these things. What things do I see that I ignore? She shares some brilliant tips. When I first started following her, which wasn't too long ago, she had 40,000 followers. She's now just hit over 200,000 followers. And kudos to her, because she has a good channel. But this isn't necessarily about cleaning. But one of the things that I think really resonates with how she works and how I work is that sometimes we do have big tasks. Sometimes we've got a thing that we want to get done. And it's how she breaks it up. And the reason that I mentioned all of that was because of Ivona's comment about putting an alarm on how much time to spend on houseworky things. So Lindsay, Queen of Clean, advocates that you take 5 minutes, pick 3 rooms in the house, take 5 minutes, set the alarm, and just go and do a quick spruce. Whatever you can do in 5 minutes in, say, the living room, say the kitchen, say the bathroom, or it might be the bedroom, your choice. So in 15 minutes, you can make a dent into some of that housework without having to spend hours and hours and hours. It might be that you just whip out the vacuum cleaner and have a quick hoover around. It might be that you just quickly go and dust some things, You can do a lot in 5 minutes, one thing in 5 minutes. And it's the same with being visible. People often ask me, like, when shall I put my content out there? How many groups should I be in? Which platform should I be on? Should I do video? Should I write? And they're all really valid questions, but it's about getting your foundations really, really solid. And this is one way in which I get my foundation solid. I think about what I'm doing before, what I'm going to do during, what I'm going to do afterwards. So before, it's the planning, it's the bullet points, it's the just as you get into the during bit, what am I putting in my head? And then on the Monday morning, I actually start by, in a way, motivating myself, as well as you guys who join me live, and as well as those of you who then join back on the replay and watch, not only just throughout the morning or the Monday, but sometimes throughout the week as well. So if you're one of those people that leaves a comment or lets me know you're watching back on the replay, thank you so much. But if you've got friends, family, acquaintances, business colleagues, peers, or anyone else who could do with a bit of Monday motivation, I've been doing this now for years, in this format on here, and I will continue to do so. And one of the reasons that I continue to do so is because you guys share this. Sometimes you share it on your timeline. You hit the share button and just share it on your personal profile on Facebook. Sometimes you send it to somebody as a private message with a little message as to why they might like this or enjoy this. And sometimes you share it in the groups that you're in, whether you're in a business group or another type of group. Of course, only if you've got permission. And virtually on a weekly basis, somebody will either leave a comment and say, I've been sent by this person, Ivona watches most of these live. And the amount of messages I get from people saying, Ivona told me all about this, or she shared this with me. So I thank you, especially Ivona, for that. And also for those of you that do share them. And whenever I get the notification and I see it, I always do go back and acknowledge you for doing that. I'm so grateful to you. So those are just some of the things you can do. Ivona's saying that someone for her to follow. Seriously, go and check her out. She's on Facebook as well. I love her on Instagram. Go and check her out. I'm just going to go back and make sure I haven't missed anyone's comments. So Sharon is saying, you do such a good job of juggling, I haven't got my glasses on, so I can look at you like that, but I won't, of juggling, speaking with such clarity and reading and engaging with us. It's a practice, when Facebook Lives first came out over here, my friends in Australia and America had it for like 4 months, and I was chomping at the bit to see what it was about. And part of putting myself out there was, what do I want to experience, and also what do I want the people watching to experience? So for me, my style is leave no comment unturned. That's not for everybody, but thank you for that. I received that because it's been a good practice. And Sharon, if you are doing Facebook Lives and putting yourself out there, I do have a free guide. It's somewhere up or down this page, but I'll send you a message with it. It's free. It's 12 video secrets, and it doesn't tell you what to do. It tells you how to be ready to set yourself up. So it makes all of this easier, all of this engagement and interaction. Plus, I'm a talkative soul. I like talking. Talking is my medium, more so than maybe the written stuff. Even though I enjoy it, speaking is my medium. Ivona's saying someone for her to follow. Do follow her. You can handle 5 minutes. Those 15 minutes, just think about it, 3 rooms and you make a dent in them all. And it means that when you do come to do a deeper clean, it's not so tough. It's not so tough. So thank you for the comments. Ivona's saying it's really helpful. See you online again in a few hours. I will see you soon, Ivona. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. And let me know, what do you put in your before, your during, your after to motivate yourself for your week? And I'm specifically interested in hearing what you do for you, more than what you do for your clients, because that's great. But I want you to give yourself the gift to you, to reflect on, to kind of celebrate yourself for the things that you do for you. So feel free to post in the comments below. If you want somewhere a bit more close up and personal and private to post, then go over to the Visibility Vibes Tribe Facebook group, where I personally think it's one of the softest places to land, right here on Facebook. I do ask you 3 questions to get in, and those 3 questions will take you like 20 seconds to answer. So do go over there, because some of the things that you share over there and here actually motivate other people too. So we're all in a win-win. We're all ready and raring to go on our Mondays. Thank you so much for watching live. Thank you so much for commenting. And thank you for those of you who watch back on the replay. I will see you later on in this page. Bye for now.